All right, let's go through Chalkboard Trucking. Chalkboard Trucking is something I'm going to start right here. Uh, I've got a chalkboard that I ordered, and it's a pretty good sized chalkboard. And this is going to be brought to you by Bush. Yes, Bush Beer and Marlboro. No, it's not that I'm sponsored by any of them, but I like to drink Bush and I like to smoke my Marlboros. I'm gonna get one right now. Anyway, all right, so let's get down to Trucking 101. Trucking 101. All right, Trucking 101. Here we go. Let's see if I can do this. Trucking 101. One, don't do it. Okay? You want to get into truck driving? Trucking 101, don't do it. All right. You're going to be gone for 3 to 4, about 3 weeks at a time. And, yeah, you're going to be sleeping at truck stops. You're going to be sleeping at Love's, Pilots, Flying J's, TA's, anywhere you can find a spot, honestly. Okay. Let me see if I can go through this. $1,500 a week. That's what they're offering truck drivers, is $1,500 a week. It may sound like good money, but you're gone. You're not home. That means you've got a swinging back door. I don't know how many of you understand what a swinging back door is, but a swinging back door is your wife is home for 3 weeks and you're not there. So figure that one out. Okay. You're working 70 plus hours a week. That means 70 plus hours a week is legal limit is 70 hours a week in an 8-day week, but that doesn't include, all your dock time, loading, unloading, and traffic and everything else. So the basis is 70 plus hours a week. You're not going to have any friends because you're only home 3 days every 3 weeks. Maybe, you're not going to have any friends. I guarantee that, because you're going to be home every 3 weeks and you're going to be home for 3 days. If you get 3 days, you might, if you work for a different company, where I got it somewhere around here, what you're doing is you're going home and you're taking a 34-hour reset. You're not actually getting 3 days off. You're getting a 34-hour reset. Anyway, so you got no home life. You can't watch your kids take their first steps. Your health, of course, your health is in jeopardy because, if you're living out there on the road, If you're living out there on the road, you're eating Wendy's and truck stop food and hot dogs and corn dogs and, you're living in a 6x6 cell, which my handle was cell block because that's basically what I lived. I lived in a truck for 30 years. 6x6 cell. No home life. Now, this is my first video, so we're gonna work on some things and try to figure out if you want to be a truck driver or not. $1,500 a week divided by 70 is $21.43 an hour. That's $21.43 an hour for all the time that you spend out there on the road and you're not home and you don't get to spend with your wife or your kids or anything. Could you work at Go Time or, Double Quick or some, gas station and make $20 an hour? Lowe's, Home Depot, they all offer like $20 an hour and you're home every night. Of course, they only offer 40 hours a week, but, you're home every night. It averages out to be $16 an hour. So basically, if you want to be a truck driver, you're going to work 70 hours a week for $16 an hour. At $20 an hour, that's $800 overtime, which we're going to get into. Overtime, that's 30 hours. At time and a half, that's 30 hours, equals 30 times 30 hours at time and a half gives you $900, which means that you ought to be making $1,700 a week. Okay, there's your at $20 an hour, you should be making $1,700 a week as a truck driver. $1,500 a week is a joke. So don't do it. Don't take it. Don't take that job, because you're going to be working 70 hours a week, making $16 an hour instead of what you're worth, which is $1,700. Okay. Now, other things that we're gonna get into, which I'm gonna make this video. This is gonna be what do you call it? Chalkboard Trucking 101 thoughts. And number one, don't do it. Okay? Because I'm going to show you everything about truck driving on this chalkboard. One thing that is interesting is that truck drivers have a better understanding of this country than anybody else. That's yes, because truck drivers travel, they understand Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, California, Montana. We as truck drivers know everything about this country. We know where the buildings are shut down. We know where the boards are put up over windows. We know where the industry is. We know everything. So we'll get into that. Safety or distraction. Let's get into the trucks that you drive nowadays. They are I'm not going to say that they're unsafe, but when you have alarms going off all the time, telling you you're speeding, you're following too closely, you're braking too hard, and at the same time, the company is offering you, bonuses for not idling too much and safety bonuses. That is a distraction. It's a huge distraction, okay? You don't want your safety bonus screwed up because you're following too closely. And you don't want your safety bonus screwed up because you're speeding. But some roads have not been built yet. So maybe some roads are like 55 miles an hour on the GPS, but they've been rebuilt and now they're 70 miles an hour. Well, now you're being penalized because you're doing 70 miles an hour in a 70 mile an hour zone, but, the GPS shows it being 55. All right. Third-party licensing. We'll get into third-party. These are subjects that I'm going to get into over the next couple weeks here. So this is the basic, and I'm going to get into all these subjects over the next couple weeks. Third-party licensing. Okay, that's pretty given. Grandma can't say, hey, he does good with his driving tests and go down to the DMV and get a license. That's what these driving schools are. They're third-party licensing, and they say, well, he kind of passed, but he'll get used to it. He'll catch on. That's not the way licensing should be done. Licensing should be done through state officials that either pass or fail you, not some third-party logistics licensing school that says, he'll catch on. All right. 2 years over the road. Back in the day, you had to have 2 years over the road to be able to get a local job. That has gone away. I saw that happen when I worked gas years ago, and Keenan came in and they cut rates and everything else like that, and they were hiring people just right out of school to haul fuel. That's not good. You used to have to have 2 years over the road to drive a truck local, and that's gone away. CDL exploitations with the government. That's you've got all these foreigners in here on what do they call them? Visas, and you got NAFTA, which is the worst thing that ever happened. I don't know. NAFTA is pretty bad. Deregulation was probably the worst, but NAFTA is bad as well. Automated trucks. Okay, don't be afraid about automated trucks. For one, they can only drive a straight line. They're not going to take everybody's jobs. I know everybody's all crazy about automated trucks and everything like that, but that's not really a big deal. They can drive from Dallas to Fort Worth, or just a warehouse to warehouse, basically. They're not going to take over anybody's jobs. So everybody that's talking about automated trucks, just get over it. That's not going to be a problem. Driver shortage. There is no driver shortage. There is a driver turnover, which means that, most people don't last 2 years in trucking. They move on to something else, which is because of this. Yes. Why would you work for 70 hours a week, and make $16 an hour when you can go to your local Double Quick and make $20 an hour and be home every night? And that's where your driver shortage comes in. Truck parking, as far as truck parking goes, we'll get into that because there is no reason that there is a shortage of truck parking. All they have to do is just, clear out a triangle at an exit ramp, just like in Nebraska, and make truck parking available. It doesn't cost anything. You put a porta potty in there. You put a dumpster in there, and that's it. There is no maintenance to it except for the porta potty and the. So as far as truck parking goes, I don't want to hear your complaints, guys. And stop parking at the for now, stop parking at the mega, Love's, Pilot. Find a local place. Find a dead end. You don't have a shower. That's right. Back in the 80s, we used to go for two weeks at a time without taking a shower. You don't need all those amenities. They're not a necessity. That is where I find that these new truck drivers are queer, because they don't need that. You don't need to wash your hair every damn day. So truck parking is something that we're going to work on. Cell phones have become a major problem associated with speed limiters. Yes, that's because somebody will be texting, your truck is limited at 68 miles an hour. This guy is slowing down in front of you because he's texting his friend. He slows down to 58. You move out to the left lane. You try to pass, and boom, he finally figures out, oh, wow, didn't realize I was doing 58. Now he speeds up. Now you're in the middle lane. Now you're blocking everybody else, and you're trying to decipher whether this guy, he picks up his speed. He starts to realize what he's doing. He's moving down the road now. But if you've ever experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, fueling, repairs. Let's see. Repairs. These trucks have so many problems with them nowadays. It's not a 2-day fix anymore. It's they're 3-4 weeks out now to get something repaired, and it's all got to do with all this crap that's on these trucks now. There is no. How many times have you drivers been swapped out to a new truck because your truck is in the shop, and now you got to get all your stuff out and move it over to a new truck because, it's in the shop and it's going to be there for a couple weeks. That's bad. Speed limiters, cell phones, weather, and the CB. Yes. What is wrong with you people that you don't pay attention to the weather and have a CB? A CB is essential. I don't care what you say. There's no pilot out there without a radio. Thoughts? You know why? Because he cannot see anything that's going on around him. So the pilot has a radio that, he can communicate with other pilots and the tower and stuff like that. There's a reason a CB is essential. Weather, always pay attention to the weather because you never know. You could go across 90, you could go across 70, you could go across 40. It all depends. I mean, if it's going to be a good day, go across 90. If they're going to have snow across 90, you're going to want to go across 40. Pay attention to the weather. Fueling is easy to figure out. It's fuel and get the fuck out the goddamn parking lot. That is not a place for you to take your 30-minute break. That is not a place for you to eat your, Wendy's or whatever. Fuel and move. Be considerate to other people. We'll get into that. History of truck stops and showering and repairs. Well, I just kind of went over that a little bit ago. Old truck stops used to have restaurants, like where you could sit down and eat. But that's at a time when you could control your own hours and you could control your own schedule. Nowadays, schedules are controlled by ELDs and companies. You're not allowed the time to sit down anymore. But I'll get into that. Hiring practices and deregulation. Again, that goes on to your 2-year, you used to have 2 years over the road before you could be a local truck driver. And those days are gone. Deregulation really screwed everything up because it created Werner and people that were, hey, look, Clarence Werner and, J.B. Hunt and Swift, you think they're all good companies? I'm going to tell you what, back in the day, they were the most illegal running companies on the road. They they broke the laws so bad they weren't even funny. They were something different. Swift, Werner, J.B. Hunt, who's the other one? Dick Simon, who had some guy, ran into a government building out or somewhere. They were bad to the bone. So don't think that they are the most, they got to where they are by breaking the fucking law. So, Atlas, always have an Atlas. We'll get into an Atlas. It's got so much information on it. Gelling. Yes, everybody wants you to save fuel for your safety bonus and your fuel bonus. So we'll get into gelling. 34-hour restart. Yes, don't think that you got a job that's a good job if they're going to send you home to do a 34-hour restart. That means you get home Friday night and you have to leave Sunday morning. That's not time off. That's not a weekend off. That's not. Let's stop that right there. If you're going to go home, you're going to go home for a full Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leave on Monday. Not get home Friday, leave Sunday morning because your 34-hour restart is over. We're also going to get into, this is a big one right here. This is, Trump is offering no taxes and tips. No taxes on tips and overtime. Truck drivers are not paid overtime. I don't know if any of you understand that, but truck drivers are not paid overtime. That means that they can hire you to work 70 hours a week and not pay you overtime. Pay you straight time, $20 an hour or whatever, times 70. They are not required to pay you overtime. So, how is that going to work out? That's Sean Duffy is our transportation secretary right now. Fast food, of course. I mean, if you stop at the truck stops and you get fast food at the truck stops is inflated basically 20% or something like that, because they know that you can't go anywhere else with your truck, and they're privately owned by Love's, Pilot, and stuff like that. So they jack up their prices. Inflation. Let's talk about inflation, okay? Because back in 1990, $10 an hour would have got you $850 a week, and 145.96%, 2.46 times as high. That means in 1990, I was being paid $10 an hour, which is the equivalent of $21 an hour today. So if you think $1,500 a week is good, imagine this. I was making $1,500 a week back in 1990. So where is the compensation? Anyway, we'll get into all this. I'll try to work this out and give you all a rundown one thing at a time. and we'll try to go over trucking 101 on the chalkboard.